Let's see how you stop me now. Satoru Gojo!
The King of Curses' laughter echoed through the battlefield. In the very next moment, a monstrous surge of cursed energy exploded from Gojo's body. The ground beneath him shattered instantly. Violent shockwaves spread across the battlefield, tearing the earth apart and forcing everyone to step back. The once peaceful sky turned pitch black. Dark crimson lightning flashed above the clouds as the air itself became unbearably heavy. Yuji instinctively reached for his weapon. Megumi stared at Gojo in disbelief. Yuta and Maki immediately prepared themselves for battle. No one spoke. No one moved. Because everyone standing there realized something had gone terribly wrong. Inside Gojo's body, Sukuna finally began making his move. His cursed energy surged toward every corner of Gojo's body, searching for complete control. Black markings slowly spread across Gojo's face, across his neck, his chest, his arms, until nearly half of his body carried the king's curse. Then, two massive arms slowly emerged from his back. The horrifying transformation left everyone speechless. But despite the pain, Gojo never surrendered. Every muscle in his body trembled. Blood slowly dripped from the corner of his mouth. Yet his blue eyes never lost their focus. Every passing second became a battle of willpower, one soul trying to dominate, the other refusing to kneel. Minutes passed. Sukuna continued forcing his cursed energy deeper and deeper into Gojo's body. But no matter how hard he tried, Gojo still remained in control. For the first time in centuries, the King of Curses found himself unable to take over his own vessel. His smile slowly disappeared. Then, it returned. Only this time, it carried something far more dangerous. Instead of attacking Gojo's body, Sukuna targeted his consciousness. An unimaginable amount of cursed energy flooded directly into Gojo's soul. The pressure became unbearable. Gojo's heartbeat grew heavier. His vision slowly blurred. The voices around him faded into silence. One last breath escaped his lips, before everything disappeared into darkness. When Gojo opened his eyes once again, the battlefield was gone. So were his students. The ruined landscape, the shattered ground, even the sky, everything had vanished. He now stood inside an endless world covered in darkness. A crimson moon hung above the horizon. The air felt cold, silent, unnatural. Gojo calmly observed his surroundings. There wasn't a trace of fear on his face. Instead, he quietly analyzed everything before taking a single step forward. Several meters away, a familiar figure slowly emerged from the darkness. 4 arms, 4 eyes. A smile filled with confidence. Ryoma and Sukuna. Neither of them moved. Neither of them attacked. The silence between them felt heavier than any battle either of them had ever fought. Finally, Gojo broke the silence.
Gojo said,
"So this is where you've been hiding."
Sukuna smiled. He slowly folded his arms. His overwhelming cursed energy spread across the endless world, as though it ruled every inch of this strange place.
Sukuna said,
Hiding? No, Gojo. I've been waiting.
Gojo remained completely calm. Instead of preparing to attack, he simply looked around once more. The ground beneath his feet, the crimson moon above, the endless darkness surrounding them. Everything felt connected. Everything obeyed a single source of cursed energy. Gojo slowly looked back at Sukuna. He already understood one thing. This wasn't an ordinary battlefield, and if he rushed into a fight without understanding its rules, even the strongest sorcerer alive could lose. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence between them felt heavier than the cursed energy surrounding the endless world. Gojo's 6 eyes carefully observed everything. The flow of cursed energy, the strange sky, even Sukuna himself. Nothing escaped his attention. Finally, Sukuna took the first step. Every footstep sent ripples across the black ground. A sinister smile remained on his face. He stopped only a few meters away from Gojo.
Tell me, Satoru Gojo, how does it feel knowing that your own body is slowly becoming mine?
If that were true, you wouldn't still be standing here talking to me.
For the first time, Sukuna's smile faded. Gojo wasn't trying to provoke him. He was stating a fact. If Sukuna had truly taken control, Gojo wouldn't be standing before him. Their souls wouldn't still be fighting. For a brief moment, neither of them moved. Then Sukuna laughed once again.
You're right, but sooner or later, your will is going to break.
Gojo said.
We'll see about that.
Gojo slowly raised his hand. Not to attack, but to test the world around him. A small amount of cursed energy gathered in his palm. He released it. The blue energy traveled forward, only to disappear into the darkness, as if the world itself had swallowed it. Gojo narrowed his eyes. He tried once more. This time, he used even more cursed energy. The result was exactly the same. Nothing, no explosion, no impact, no damage. It was as if cursed techniques simply had no effect here. Gojo finally understood. This wasn't a place where power decided victory. It was a place created by the collision of two souls. Destroying Sukuna here would accomplish absolutely nothing. Seeing the realization on Gojo's face, Sukuna couldn't hide his amusement.
Now you understand. No matter how many techniques you use, you can't kill me in this place.
Gojo smiled. Instead of looking disappointed, he seemed relieved, because he had finally discovered the truth. There was only one way to win. He had to return to reality. Only there could this battle truly end. Gojo slowly closed his eyes. Ignoring Sukuna completely, he focused every ounce of his will on reconnecting with his own body. Outside, Gojo's unconscious body suddenly trembled. A faint blue glow escaped from beneath the black markings. Yuji noticed it immediately. For a brief second, hope returned to everyone's eyes. Gojo was still fighting, not with Sukuna's body, but with his own soul. Inside the endless world, tiny cracks suddenly appeared in the darkness. Gojo slowly opened his eyes. A confident smile crossed his face. He had found the way back.
This isn't where I'll defeat you. The real battle begins outside.
The cracks spreading across the endless darkness grew larger with every passing second. Sukuna immediately realized what Gojo was trying to do. He wasn't trying to defeat him inside this place. He was trying to leave it. Without warning, Sukuna vanished. In an instant, he appeared directly in front of Gojo and drove his fist straight through his chest. The impact echoed across the entire realm. Gojo was thrown backward across the black ground. Yet instead of fighting back, he slowly stood up. A small smile appeared on his face. He had already accepted the truth. This world was useless. No matter how many techniques he used here, Sukuna would never truly be defeated. Gojo closed his eyes, ignoring Sukuna completely. He focused every fragment of his will on his real body. Outside the mental world, Gojo's unconscious body suddenly trembled. A pulse of blue cursed energy burst from beneath the black markings covering his skin. Yuji took a step forward. For the first time since Gojo collapsed, hope returned to everyone's eyes. Inside the endless realm, the darkness around Gojo began to shatter. Cracks spread across the crimson sky. Even Sukuna looked around in surprise. Gojo slowly opened his eyes.
This isn't where I'll defeat you. The real battle begins outside.
The blue glow of the six eyes erupted through the darkness. The entire mental world began collapsing as Gojo forced his consciousness back to reality. Then, his eyes suddenly opened. A violent wave of blue cursed energy exploded from his body, pushing everyone backward. The extra arms behind him moved wildly. The black markings spread even further across his skin. Sukuna immediately tried to seize control again. Gojo gritted his teeth and forced the cursed energy back. The struggle lasted only a few seconds. But the pressure was enough to shake the entire battlefield. Realizing that another clash like this could destroy everything around them, Gojo made a decision. He raised his hand. A gigantic barrier of blue cursed energy surrounded the battlefield, sealing the area away from the outside world. The air inside the barrier became completely silent. Gojo took a deep breath. Then he looked directly ahead.
If you want my body that badly, then let's settle this properly.
An overwhelming amount of cursed energy gathered around Gojo. The space inside the barrier began to distort. The ground disappeared. The sky vanished. An entirely new world was being created. Moments later, Gojo and Sukuna were standing inside a strange, endless realm, illuminated by blue and crimson light. For the first time, Sukuna possessed a complete physical body. The King of Curses looked at his own hands, then smiled. Gojo had made a dangerous mistake. He had given Sukuna exactly what he wanted, a body worthy of the strongest curse in history. The two strongest beings in existence slowly faced each other. No barriers, no allies, no escape, just a single battle, to decide who would control the strongest body in the world.
Sukuna said.
Now this is finally interesting.
The moment Sukuna obtained his complete body, a smile spread across his face. For the first time in a long time, he felt completely free. He slowly clenched his fists. The overwhelming cursed energy flowing through his body distorted the very space around him. Gojo remained silent. He knew exactly what he had done. Giving Sukuna a physical body had been a dangerous gamble. But it was the only way to end this battle once and for all. For several seconds, neither of them moved. Both carefully observed each other. Neither wanted to make the first mistake. Then, without warning, Sukuna disappeared. In less than a heartbeat, he appeared behind Gojo. A devastating punch shot toward Gojo's head. Gojo barely tilted his body aside. The attack missed by inches. Before Sukuna could react, Gojo answered with a powerful strike of his own. Sukuna blocked it effortlessly. The impact alone shattered the ground beneath their feet. The fight had begun. For several minutes, neither side gained the advantage. Every punch, every kick, every curse technique was answered with another. Gojo's speed overwhelmed Sukuna. Sukuna's raw strength pushed Gojo back. Their battle shook the entire realm. Shockwaves spread endlessly across the artificial world Gojo had created. Watching the fight, it was impossible to tell who was stronger. For the first time, the strongest sorcerer and the King of Curses stood as complete equals. Minutes passed. Neither warrior showed any sign of slowing down. Then, a smile slowly appeared on Sukuna's face. Gojo immediately noticed it. Something had changed. Sukuna stopped attacking. Instead, he slowly looked toward the endless sky above them.
What are you planning?
You created this world. Now watch me make it mine.
Sukuna raised all four arms toward the sky. A terrifying amount of cursed energy erupted from his body. The blue world surrounding them immediately began changing. The bright sky turned crimson. The ground cracked apart. Black structures slowly rose from beneath the earth. Gojo's world was being overwritten. Piece by piece, Sukuna replaced it with his own. Within moments, the entire realm belonged to the King of Curses. Gojo immediately realized what had happened. He hadn't just lost control of his domain. He had given Sukuna a battlefield where his power could grow without limits. Outside, the barrier surrounding the battlefield suddenly disappeared. A wave of cursed energy spread across the surrounding land. Yuji, Yuta, Megumi, Maki, Panda, and every nearby sorcerer were instantly pulled into Sukuna's newly created world. They looked around in complete disbelief. The sky above them had turned blood red. The air itself felt cursed. Sukuna slowly turned toward them. A cruel smile crossed his face.
Welcome to my world.
Without moving from where he stood, Sukuna simply snapped his fingers. An invisible force exploded across the battlefield. Yuji and the others were thrown hundreds of meters away. The impact shattered the ground beneath them. Several of Sukuna's remaining vessels tried to resist. He looked at them for only a moment. Then, with a single wave of his hand, they were erased instantly. The surviving vessels immediately fell to their knees. Fear had completely consumed them. Meanwhile, Gojo slowly pushed himself back onto his feet. His breathing had grown heavier. Blood covered his uniform, yet the determination in his eyes had never been stronger. He looked directly at Sukuna. For the first time, he knew exactly what he had to do. The technique he had sworn never to use would now become humanity's final hope. Gojo slowly lowered his head. For a brief moment, the battlefield became completely silent. Even Sukuna didn't attack. He could sense it. Something was different. Something far more dangerous than before. Gojo closed his eyes. Countless memories flashed through his mind. His students, his friends, every person who had placed their trust in him. He had always believed the strongest sorcerer should carry every burden alone. And today, he was prepared to risk everything. Gojo slowly opened his eyes. Their brilliant blue glow had become brighter than ever before. A calm smile appeared on his face.
I've never used this technique before. Not because I couldn't, but because no battle was ever worth this price.
Then stop talking and show me.
An ocean of cursed energy erupted from Gojo's body. The entire world shook violently. His infinity, blue, red, purple, and the limitless power flowing through the six eyes, began merging into a single technique. The enormous pressure reached every corner of Sukuna's world. Even Sukuna's smile slowly disappeared. For the first time, he felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Danger. Without wasting another second, Sukuna unleashed everything he had. Thousands of slashes tore through the battlefield. Flames covered the crimson sky. Black lightning crashed from every direction. The entire world collapsed into chaos. Gojo stood his ground. He didn't dodge. He didn't retreat. He pushed forward. Step by step. Every attack that reached him was stopped by infinity. Every step brought him closer to Sukuna. Then, both of them disappeared. The next instant, the strongest sorcerer and the king of curses collided in the center of the battlefield. The impact created a shockwave so powerful that Sukuna's world itself began breaking apart. Yuji slowly looked up. For the first time since the battle began, he could no longer see either of them. Only endless flashes of blue, crimson, black, and purple filled the sky. The battle had surpassed everything humanity had ever witnessed. Minutes passed. Neither side surrendered. Both of them were covered in blood. Both of them were exhausted. Yet neither of them stopped fighting. Finally, Gojo gathered every last drop of cursed energy he had left. He knew this would be his final attack. If it failed, everything would end. Gojo looked directly into Sukuna's eyes.
This ends now.
Gojo released the completed technique. A blinding pillar of blue, red, purple, and white light erupted across the battlefield. The explosion consumed everything. Sukuna roared as his body began breaking apart. His cursed energy shattered piece by piece. For the very first time, the King of Curses realized he had been defeated.
Impossible! Impossible, Satoru! Gojo!
With one final explosion, Sukuna's body completely disintegrated. His cursed energy vanished from the world forever. The crimson sky slowly returned to normal. The cursed world collapsed. The survivors watched in silence. The battle was finally over. But at the center of the battlefield, Gojo remained standing, completely motionless. Then, a massive wave of energy burst from his body. The explosion lit up the entire sky. When the light disappeared, Gojo slowly opened his eyes for just a single second. Everything before him was blurred. A faint smile appeared on his face. Then, his body collapsed to the ground. For a brief moment, no one moved. No one spoke. The battlefield, which had been consumed by chaos only moments before, had fallen completely silent. The king of curses was gone. The crimson sky had disappeared. The overwhelming cursed energy that had shaken the world had finally vanished. Only one person remained lying at the center of the battlefield. Satoru Gojo. Yuji was the first to run toward him. He dropped to his knees beside his teacher. His hands trembled as he reached for Gojo's shoulder. There was no response, no movement, no words. One by one, Megumi, Yuta, Maki, Panda, Inumaki, and the others gathered around him. Shoko quickly examined Gojo. Seconds felt like hours. Everyone waited, hoping to hear something, anything. Instead, Shoko slowly lowered her head. The silence on her face said more than words ever could. Yuji couldn't hold back his tears any longer. He clenched his fists. The strongest sorcerer, the teacher who had always stood in front of everyone, had given everything to save them. No one spoke. No one had the strength to. 5 long minutes passed. The battlefield remained silent. Then, a single finger moved. At first, no one noticed. Moments later, Gojo's hand moved again. Yuji's eyes widened. Before anyone could react, Gojo slowly opened his eyes. Everything around him was blurry. He blinked several times before looking at the worried faces surrounding him. A small smile appeared across his face.
Why are you all crying?
For a second, everyone stood completely frozen. Then relief washed over the battlefield all at once. Yuji laughed through his tears. Yuta smiled. Even Megumi couldn't hide his relief. Maki shook her head with a smile. Before Gojo could even sit up, everyone surrounded him. For the first time in a long time, the battlefield echoed with laughter instead of screams. The world had been saved, not by power alone, but by the determination of the strongest sorcerer who refused to give up. Days later, life slowly returned to normal. The scars left by the battle would never completely disappear. But humanity had been given another chance. Standing beneath a clear blue sky, Gojo looked at his students with the same confident smile they had always known. The future that once seemed impossible was finally within their reach. Even the strongest can fall, but true strength is found in the courage to stand back up. Satoru Gojo risked everything to protect the future, proving that power alone doesn't make a hero. It's the will to keep fighting no matter the cost. And as long as that will lives on, hope will never disappear.